Today I'm going for our first run in the Asics Metaracer. .10 miles, 6 minutes, 59 seconds per mile, 162 beats per minute today for a fartlek run, 3 minutes on, 1 minute off. Ended up being, after a warm-up, about 13 800-meter repeats with 1 minute rests in between, although most of them were a little bit shy, with paces being somewhere in the 6:32 to as quick as 5 minutes and 55 seconds for those on intervals. Running for the first time in the Asics Metaracer, a carbon fiber plated shoe from Asics, something that I didn't think I'd ever see. But before I get into my thoughts about this shoe, I do want to go over some disclosures. This is a pair of shoes that was sent to me by Running Warehouse. However, they're not paying me to wear this shoe to make this video, and no one's going to get a chance to preview any of my thoughts or footage before you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. What we have here is a really lightweight shoe that it just screams minimalism all over it, and I think it's just absolutely beautiful. The upper is pretty much transparent, or as transparent as an upper can be. Everything is meshed, ventilated. It's got holes in it. It's see-through in it. There's no unnecessary padding anywhere. Even the toe cap up here has a hole in it so that more air can get through, and as we all know, speed holes make the shoe go faster. Even the tongue, there's no padding in the tongue at all, with just a whole bunch of ventilated mesh, which I thought was really nice. Even in the heel cup as well, there's a little bit of structure here and just a tiny amount of padding to protect you right where the back of your, or back top of your ankle might hit the shoe. But other than that, even parts of that heel cup are ventilated as well, and so everything is super light. What I noticed when I put on the shoe is that it seems super snug right here towards the top of the foot, and I definitely had to do a lot of adjusting just to get my foot inside the shoe. I felt like, and I was worried as I started running, that it might create some tension points here. Ended up being completely fine. The toe box, though, on the other hand, was surprisingly roomy for something that's intended to be a racer. So I felt like that was really well designed, and I felt like I had a good amount of space in the toe box for my foot. There's nice little bits of attention to detail as well, including branding on the aglet, those little end pieces of the laces, and a little racing stripe on the back, working all really beautifully together, including the Tokyo branding on the outer part of the heel. Just an absolutely stunning upper. I've been asking Asics to make basically like a Onitsuka Tiger like protro, like bring me back that shoe, the minimalism of that shoe, the look of that shoe. Even if it's not an actual running shoe, that would be fantastic. But instead, it looks like this, and it's a Metaracer. And the question is, what does it feel like to run it? So let's take a look at the outsole and the midsole. The outsole is just absolutely stunning. I just think that this pattern, this like wavy pattern, just screams fluidity and motion. And it's just so beautiful to look at. It's kind of like reminds me of like just wood grain, a very smooth, weathered, well-treated wood grain, and it's just really inviting to look at. It's a very thin amount of rubber, very restrained, especially when you're considering that it's an Asics, and there's even some exposed Flytfoam that you're running on. I think that there may be two different densities of Flytfoam working on in this shoe, which is like the white part or the cream colored part you see here, and then there's an orange part in between that outsole and this thicker part of the midsole here. That's also providing some cushion, so that's another piece of Flytfoam. But the real story here is the carbon fiber plate. I'm not sure if it's a full-length carbon fiber plate, judging by the way that the foam is designed here in the different sections. I'm guessing that it's a mostly full carbon fiber plate that starts from kind of back here where this orange foam starts and moving up forward to the toes. What I felt when I was running in this shoe is that I felt two things. Number one, I felt the carbon fiber plate in the shoe as I was running, but I also felt a very strong rocker sensation. Now, the rocker sensation is something that you might find that as you're going over through your foot strike, it feels like you've maybe stepped off the edge of a curb or the edge of a stair, and that's that rocker sensation. What it does is it picks up the back of your heel, so that way when you hit the ground, you're getting through your gait cycle really nice and fast. For most shoes, that tends to happen right around here, kind of where the shoe like naturally curls upward. For this shoe, it feels like it's almost like in the arch. It almost felt like there was like a bubble underneath the shoe. It reminded me a little bit of the Asics Meta Ride that I ran in, I think over a year ago at this point, which was a little bit concerning because I felt like that rocker placement was a little bit awkward for me. I couldn't quite figure out how to get my foot strike to work with it. And so I was wondering, once I started getting up to speed out of my warm-up paces and into my quicker speeds, what would that really feel like? Fortunately, once I started getting out of the warm-up paces and into my working paces, everything started to sing really nicely together. So I was landing kind of in the forefoot or even sometimes up in the toes. And when you do that, you're definitely rewarded. The carbon fiber plate, the Dynaflight foam, the super minimal upper are all working in conjunction really well. I got a very strong push-off sensation, and the softness of the Dynaflight foam that's in here gave me just the right amounts of cushion, plus also a springiness to keep me forward and going into my next foot strike. I wouldn't say that it's like a super plush experience. It's nothing like a Vaporfly. It's not like Zoom X foam. And at the slower paces, you might even think that it's a little bit stiff of a foam, but once you're getting up to kind of race pace and those faster speeds, then it tends to balance out. It tends to work out to be just the right amount for that extra pounding that you're pushing into the ground, the extra force that you're using to push off. It ends up working out really well together. What this reminding me most of was the Evo Ride, which was a shoe that took a little bit of break-in for me to really take a shine to. And at slower paces, like recovery paces and just easy run paces, the Evo Ride was a little bit of an awkward shoe for me. I felt like that also had a really early rocker. But once you started working faster, getting some tempo paces into that shoe really started to shine, and that's really where it wanted to be. This is like an upgraded, souped up version of the Evo Ride. I feel like the two would be good training companions. Evo Ride for a lot of your faster long days, and then for racing, hop into the Metaracer, or for your kind of tune-up or time trial, or as you're getting ready for a race workouts. then the Metaracer is definitely going to be something that is going to be a nice partner to the Evo Ride. I really like what Asics is doing this year with the Evo Ride and now the Metaracer together. Some really exciting options that I don't feel like they had in their lineup in previous years. So I think it's super exciting to see that, and I'm absolutely loving the Evo Ride for sure. And I think I'm going to be loving the Metaracer as well. So today's run was only 9.10 miles. So I'm going to need some more testing in to see if I can run a marathon in this shoe. But certainly at this point, I'm very confident in saying that this could be a very good half marathon racing shoe, or even something down to the 5K road race. Going to the half marathon, I feel good about most people being able to race in that. So looking forward to more miles in this shoe. I think it's going to be pretty exciting. It might be a little challenging to get those miles and those faster paces in, but we'll see what I can do over the next coming days and weeks. If you have any other questions about the Metaracer, feel free to leave them down in the comments down below. I'd love to talk to you guys about it more down there. Also, information about like heel drop and weight. It's a really lightweight shoe. I didn't know what the heel drop was beforehand. I was guessing about 8 millimeters, maybe 6 millimeters for the heel drop. I'll post down in the description the information that I was able to find, like based on an internet search. I essentially got these shoes in a bag, so nothing came with it, so running a little bit blind on it. So any information that I can find out in those regards, I'll post down below for those of you who don't want to do a separate Google search after looking at this video. Before I go, I do want to talk about the Charity Runner of the Week. I'm kind of suspending that program for a little bit now, given everything that's going on. Instead, my wife and I are donating to our local food pantry, and I'd love it if you guys would consider doing something similar to that in your own local community, even if it's just something as simple as reaching out to your friends and neighbor and making sure that everyone's doing okay. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making all the way to the end of the video, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
Yo, what's going on?